Hello, everyone. I am Christian Day, and I am the co-host of WitchCon, and I'm very, very excited to have one of my dearest friends, who I've known for a very long time, Laurie Cabot, who is the official witch of Salem. Hello, Laurie.
Hi, Don. I love you. And
Love
you know
you
something? He's a master of witchcraft. And most people don't even realize that.
Well, I appreciate it. You have always inspired me. I've always felt they did an article about me in 2013 in the Boston Globe, and I brought them down to see you. And when they put the article out, they basically said I was a Laurie Cabot fanboy because it was the only time I was quiet. Because you have inspired generations of witches around the world.
I hope so. I hope we both have. It's very important because humankind is kind of lost right now. And they don't actually know that magic is real and can do good things. Our way of life, you don't have to harm anyone. And you don't have to harm an enemy even. You don't have to have a war because our magic can neutralize their ability to harm people, and we can put a protection shield. So we're, I think, the only group in religious ideas that doesn't do harm at all. And here we are known for devil worship and all kinds of terrible things, which are not true. And grateful now that a lot of the history, our history is being told and written about now. And I think that's what's important, that people understand how their brain works. It is a science. It's a wonderful mechanism if you use it correctly. And we wouldn't have these wars in Gaza, and it's primitive, isn't it?
Well, so much of the violence is driven by ideology and religion and thought of extreme rightness, and everybody has to be
perfect and they're the best. We know better.
So I'm curious, because certainly you've inspired me. I mean,
I know.
But what inspired you? What brought you to all of this?
It started very early in grammar school when, in grammar school you study a place for like a week or 4 days. Next week it's somewhere else. And we had Salem. And Salem, it talks so much about what is wrong. It's nothing about witchcraft, really. They don't know how to define it. But my mother happened to know a little about it, and I'm still trying to figure out why and how. And she said, well, they're not all bad witches. She says, just like people, there are good people and not good people. And the witches do a lot of healing, and she told me about herbalism, and etc. And so that stuck with me. Then I went through this period of time when all my little friends were Catholics. Okay. And my mother and father didn't push any religion at all towards me. I mean, I knew about Christianity. I knew the stories of Jesus and all that sort of thing. But we didn't really, it wasn't important, really. But I'm here, I'm playing and having fun with all my friends, and most of them were Catholics. And so one little girl said, why don't you come with me to catechism? I don't know, what do they call it?
Communion?
No, it's where they go and they teach you about religion in the afternoons. Never mind.
Might be catechism. I don't know. I made my communion. That was as far as I went. And I was
I didn't even
15,
do that. And anyway, I decided I wanted to be a nun all of a sudden. And my mother said,
we haven't gone far off.
Oh, my mother almost fainted when I told her. And anyway, I had a meeting with one of the priests in the church. And I told him that I wanted to be a nun. And he looked at me, he says, you're You're going to get credit for anything you do. If it's bad, you'll get credit for that. And if it's good, you'll get great credit for that. And you do not have to be a nun to live that way. And I went, that stuck with me. And it's a witch law, really, isn't it? I don't know where he came from, but he was well studied. And he's the one that really catapulted all that knowledge that my mom gave me. And it just stuck with me. And as I got older and older, and had quite a few magic things happen, a lot. And then I started studying alpha level, the brain, and how it works, and that it was real. And I thought, this has got to be told. People need this. Every single person needs to use their brain in a more perfect way. Without emotion doesn't get us very far. It can catapult you to do good things if you're anxious too much, but it also can be damaging, and you need to control that. And
You're better at that than me.
yes, and I think it's important. But yes, I think now science has caught up with us. Science says that quantum entanglement says that unseen light can carry information and pictures and everything to a destination, and it can come back. So when we do psychic work, that's what that is. You're learning how to use your mind, not just your brain, and how to send light. Light. We're made of light.
Very few witches today talk about the science or that this can be a reality. It's often couched in very religious terms or spiritual. It's all very out there and not to be understood. So you've come at this from such a different direction that was so powerful for me. I took Witchcraft 1 in 1990, and not only did I do really well in those health cases, but everyone in that class did at least 75% accuracy just from all walks of life. And it really was life-changing for me to understand that this was something tangible and real and not just spiritual in some out there way.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you really come to that? Because it's so different than what you see.
I was just interested, first of all, in astrology and the light of the planets. If it has color or not and what it does to us. Why do we do astrology? And that started off. And then I started learning about alpha level and the brain and how that works and how powerful it is just to go into an alpha state. You go into alpha every night when you sleep, but controlling it is a different thing. And I learned that, and I thought, why doesn't everyone know this? It's not being taught. No one's saying this is what you can do. And I've had, like I said, many magical moments in my life. So that brought it more forward. And
even knowledge isn't always enough. I mean, we all know if you move more and eat less, you're going to lose weight. And here I am still struggling on. You know what I mean? We all know, sometimes even the knowledge, I've seen people that, when I went forth from your class, even when we drifted apart, I continued to use those techniques. I've never stopped. But then you see these other people, they take Witchcraft 1 or they take psychic development somewhere, and they learn these things and they empower themselves. But then they immediately stop relying on it as a tangible tool. It's almost as though they
had an experience and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes just a one-time thing and not, to me, psychic ability and magic are constant without them,
Well, as a for instance, in my family on both sides, no one has lived past 60 or 65. I'm the only one that I know of, and we've done a little research, and they're all were gone quickly. And that's very young, to pass. And I'm 91 and about to turn 92. And I'm so surprised And I have no idea, I have no idea how long I'll be here or what I'm
You'll
hoping.
outlive us all.
I don't want to be old and decrepit and
People say that at about 60, about 90, and here you are, not decrepit. So I think it's, I'm going to tell a little story because this is kind of funny to me. When you were 85, we were on the phone.
Okay.
And you had just done a back-to-back Witchcraft 1 and 2 class.
All right.
And they're worth every penny. What are they, 500?
Mm-hmm.
Worth every penny. And at the time, I think you were having a moment, and you said to me, well, I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of forgotten. And I snickered, and I said, when I'm 85, if I'm still alive, I hope someone comes to visit me at the nursing home to talk to me about things that happened 30 years ago and that I don't have to use the bedpan while they're there. You, on the other hand, and still at 91, selling out these back-to-back witchcraft classes to people from all over the world.
Oh,
and I send people. There were at least one person in the last one, Irving, that I sent.
yes,
and
very
I
nice
still
man.
send people because, if there was one thing that I would want people to know about me, it's the same thing that I'd want people to know about you. They often see us in the media where the media will edit us down and sort of take snippets, and it's all very talking point-esque, and so you're getting a very filtered version.
Yes.
And so they will think, oh, are these people theatrical? Are they simply there for, whatever? But here's what I know. I know if I come to this house at 2 a.m. and knock on the door, you're at 91. You're going to have the eyes, the face, the hair. This is who you are. Yeah. And, it's so fundamental to your being. How did you come to this place where you knew it had to be all or nothing?
I'm not maybe over emotional. I don't know. And I liked the idea of maybe being an actor or a dancer when I was younger. I thought, oh God, that would be so much fun to be on stage. And I think that's partly, I did some work on stage. And I think I learned how to speak to an audience. I learned how to present myself a little bit. Very small. I didn't do anything big. And I applied it when I started studying Alpha and witchcraft and looking at our history, which is amazing and beautiful, and trying to understand why people, were programmed to think it's evil and we're bad, and we've never heard of a devil. It's a Christian God. It's not our. We don't really worship. We don't worship our ancestors. Those are the gods and goddesses that we call that are really our ancestors. And so we honor them and we learn from them, from the other world. So I don't know, I was driven because I just felt bad for humankind that, they have this talent or this way of having a better life and to heal themselves and help others and to produce what they want to be in a world that we all want. It can be done in this way. And I thought, well, maybe I can get a little message out there and see what people think about it.
Even I own khaki. When I went to Egypt, I bought a whole wardrobe of browns and khakis because I was going to this country I wasn't so sure about. And so I abandoned
the black.
All of this. You never, what motivated you to say, okay, I have to do this. I'm always going to look like this. I'm always going to be this.
In a black robe. I know, and the Egyptian makeup, that's part of it. And because I'm 85% British, and everyone that is British to that extent has Egyptian DNA. And somehow that kept coming up even when I was a child. And I started very early trying to outline my eyes, like the Eye of Horus or whatever, or all the the pictures of Cleopatra and all. So I don't know. I thought you have. I I thought, well, how are they going to find a witch if you're not dressed in traditional clothing? And this is our tradition. And black, the color black, it takes all colors to create black. So you're absorbing all the rainbow, and that brings information into your body. So it's also a science, it's also something that is traditional. And I thought, well, how are they going to find me how do you find a nun now? They're all in dungarees and sweatshirts.
Well, there's a line in the book, God, I forget which one it is, but Terry Pratchett's Weird Sisters about the three witches, and one of them, Granny Weatherwax, says, what's the point of being a witch if nobody can tell? Every October, my friend Byron Ballard, who's presenting at WitchCon here, and wonderful Appalachian witch, but every October she does this post. I always have mixed feelings about it. I want you to post what you look like as a witch, just you and every day, and what you look, and of course there's dozens of people sharing it and reposting it, and 90% of them, probably most of them, are just looking like normal everyday people. And I always sort of feel, well, a lot of us do look like normal everyday people, but I always want to sort of, when I do it, I try to really put, well, this is my everyday.
Yes.
I don't own anything in my closet up in Salem that isn't some shade of black. I have a couple purples and reds, but
I know it's hard to find your clothes.
It's I can only shop in London, in New York.
Yes.
Because the fit models of this shirt, for example, this is a 4 extra large. I'm not a 4 extra large, but in this particular brand. So, this is who I am. This is the inner witch. It's not a robe, but it comes out in this palette.
Because you're using our tradition that black absorbs the rainbow. And we understand that light carries information. It helps you to be smarter. It helps you to be more psychic if you wear all black.